For this project, we'll be using scissors, a pencil, oil pastels or crayons, glue, you can also use a glue stick, 2 old magazines, and a variety of paper. Today we're going to be making color cats inspired by the artist Laurel Burch. She uses line, shape, color, and pattern in her art. Our focus today is on the art element of color. Let's get started. Here is a sample of a type of cat that Laurel Burch might make. If you'll notice, there are many lines, shapes, colors, and patterns. We're going to go ahead and start on our own. So I'm going to have you start out with a dark piece of paper, the darkest one that you have. And we're going to go ahead and cut out the shape of our cat. And in order to do that, let's take our paper. And I would say if your background is dark, you want this one to be really light. So I took my lightest piece of paper and I folded it in half. And we're going to draw half of our cat. Let's draw the top of his head and his ear. And if you'll notice, I only put half of his head. So we're drawing one side of his face. I drew his ear. And I'm going to come all the way down. And let's go ahead and cut out our cat. And you'll notice that my cat is really long. And there's a reason that I did that. Okay, let's cut all the way down. Alright, the reason I cut my cat so long is because I want to decide how tall I want my cat. And I want him to take up a lot of the paper, but I want to leave space up here at the top because we're going to be adding the flowers. And here's a sample of those flowers again. So make sure you leave space for those flowers on top and maybe some on the sides. So I think I want my cat to be about this tall. So come down here and draw a little line across the bottom. And you can see my line I drew right across the bottom. It kind of gives me a guide to cut on. So now my cat is the height that I need. So I'm going to go ahead and glue my cat on. So go ahead and grab your glue. And let's make sure we don't puddle the glue, but we want a pretty good bit because we don't want our cat to move. And I'm making sure I get a little bit up on the ears. Okay, now we have our cat. We're going to go ahead and start making his eyebrows. So I'm going to take one piece of colored paper. It doesn't matter what size you get. I would say not a gigantic one. You can go ahead and just cut a rectangle. I'm going to fold that rectangle in half. And remember, these will be the eyebrows. And we will be using lots of colors today. So in order to make his eyebrows, they will be coming across here and across here. So I want them to be arched. And the reason I have it folded is not because I want it to open up into one big piece. I am wanting to cut 2 at one time. So I'm just staying right here in the middle and I'm making it the shape of a rainbow and arching it. And after I do that, I'm going to hold the pieces in the same spot and I'm going to cut another rainbow arched shape. And this line will create the other side of my rainbow shape, my arch. All right, so at this point, you can see that I have 2. And the easy part about it is I just slide them down. I'm going to flip this one over. And when I do, it's exactly the same shape on this side as it is on this side. Now, as you see, my eyebrows are hanging over, so I'm going to go ahead and cross them over right here in the middle, exactly where I want them. I'll draw a little line here and a little line here, and that lets me know where I need to cut my eyebrows. Okay. Go ahead and glue your eyebrows down. And I like my eyebrows up closer to the top of the head. So go ahead and glue those down. And if at any point you need to pause the video, go ahead and do that because we're going pretty quickly. Now we're going to make the arch underneath the eye. Okay, so I have one white piece of paper, and remember, I would like for my eyes to be the same size. Everything on this is symmetrical, so that's why we're folding things in half. We're not going to cut on the fold, we're just going to cut in the middle. And I'm going to make the top side of a football. You can kind of see the top part of my eye, and now I'm going to make the bottom side of a football. Same thing, slide the eyes down and flip it over. Then they're exactly the same on both sides. And I'm going to go ahead and glue my eyes down. Now, I'm noticing that my eyes are pretty big, so I think I'm going to flip this back over and I'm going to cut them a little smaller. And it's up to you how big or how small you want your eyes. I'm going to trim a little bit off. And trim a little bit off. Okay. Pull it down and flip it over. So now I have my cat eyes. Trying our hardest. Okay, now we're going to add pattern and line to our awesome cat. So in order to do that, I'm going to take my green paper, and I think I would like for my cat to have stripes. I need one purple thin stripe. Okay. And now let's go ahead and we'll add a red stripe. And if you'll notice, I am adding a variety of stripes. They're not all the same thickness. I'll lay my red down. And if you decide that you want to glue after you cut all your pieces, that is fine too. That way you can rearrange however you'd like. Okay, now I'm going to add details to my green stripe. I think I've decided that I would like polka dots. I'm going to go ahead now and work on the flowers on the background. So in order to make the flowers on the background, I simply opened my magazine and tried to find pages in my old magazine. Make sure that you've asked your parents to use the magazine. You don't want to use one of their very good ones, so just make sure that it's an old one that they don't mind you cutting in. Open your magazine and find something that has texture and color. So you'll see the water has texture, my flowers have texture and a lot of color. And all you're going to do is cut a wavy line shape. And the flowers that you choose to cut out, the color, the texture, it does not have to be a picture of flowers. It can be anything. I just happen to find a really good picture of flowers. And you can put as many or as little flowers as you would like. I would say at least put 2 or 3 flowers. So there's one flower. And in order to make leaves, I do the same thing. I go ahead and fold it in half, and I fold it in half again. And the good thing about the leaves, they don't have to all be the same size, so if you would like to cut those separately, you feel free to do that. Okay, I would say cut at least 3 leaves. And when you put your leaves on and you glue your flowers down, go ahead and overlap your flowers over your leaves. And one of your flowers, go ahead and choose one of them to put 2 leaves behind. Okay, so let me show you the finished product. So now you see what our finished product looks like. I would like for you to choose an oil pastel or a crayon, and you're going to add a few details. I would like for you to add lines to give your Laurel Burch inspired cat a little more detail. So you can see I went ahead and used green and put polka dots inside my polka dots. I used orange to add spirals, and then I used lines to add lines on the leaves, so that way it would be a little bit more detailed. You can also put flowers on top of flowers, and that also makes it look more interesting. I hope you've enjoyed this project. Don't forget to get on your Flipgrid app and add your project. I can't wait to see it.